Welcome back, Lions, and welcome to the Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lucas Hill, and today we will be discussing Lions softball, women's basketball, state championships, bowl games, and highlighting arguably one of the most dominant defensive linemen in the NFL, Myles Garrett. After winning their first conference title and appearing in the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history, the Lady Lions returned to the Diamond as the preseason favorites to repeat as Southland Conference champions. Despite losing stars like Bailey Krolchek and Kaylin Watson, the Lions are loaded as 4 preseason all-conference players in Chloe McGee, Maddie Watson, Maria Detillier, and reigning Southland Conference Newcomer of the Year, Shanita Tucker. The Lions will begin opening day with a bang in Baton Rouge as they play Charlotte Friday morning in the LSU Invitational. The Lady Lions basketball team has been red hot as of late, starting off Southland Conference play 12-0 and riding a 12-game winning streak as they enter the final full month of the regular season. Alexius Horn and Lexi Alexander have led the way for the Lions, both top 5 on the team in scoring, and Cheyenne Daniels has anchored herself as the defensive prowess on the other end that the Lions need. Ranking top 10 in the Southland Conference in block shots, the Lions are firmly in the driver's seat in the Southland Conference as they travel to H-Town to take on the Huskies of Houston Christian and putting their 12-game win streak on the line. While everyone was on Christmas break, we at the Southeastern Channel were busy attending some sporting events around New Orleans, as the New Orleans Pelicans look to improve over the course of the season, but to little avail. The Pelicans sit at 12-38 on the season and 14th in the Western Conference. However, the Pels are coming off of their best month of basketball all season, especially rising star Trey Murphy III, who is in the middle of his best season in his 4-year career in the Big Easy. Murphy has established himself in the league as one of the most efficient shooters from outside, as well as being able to finish at the rim. But the biggest problem is injuries and a lack of chemistry that has hurt the team of any chances of a rising team that had their hopes of a 3rd straight playoff berth in the Willie Green era. With where the Pelicans stand at the moment, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered about the futures of Green and general manager Bryson Graham. Will they remain in New Orleans? It's a decision that has to be considered from now until the regular season ends on April 13th. The LHSAA state championships took place last month that featured one of the most underrated matchups of the weekend when the Cecilia Bulldogs and Franklinton Demons met in the final game of Day 2 of the LHSAA Prep Classic title. The Bulldogs went into the postseason with one of the most explosive offenses in the postseason, averaging almost 53 points a game. The Bulldogs would have a stiff challenge going up against the strong rushing attack of the Demons led by 2,000-yard rusher Cy Austin. The game turned into a back-and-forth battle with big plays being a significant difference throughout the game, with Franklinton not going to bed quietly as a defensive struggle would only amount to 1 touchdown in the 4th quarter. But 2 crucial turnovers would make the difference in an all-time classic as the Cecilia Bulldogs would capture their first state championship since 1995. Sports Illustrated's Louisiana High School Player of the Year Diesel Solari put up 214 yards of total offense, and Cy Austin finished with 147 yards rushing and 3 scores to cap off one of the most exciting games of the weekend. For one of the few times in history, the Southeastern Channel ventured outside of the Pelican State. I made the state of Alabama a second home for the Southeastern Channel by first traveling to see the Arkansas State Red Wolves and Bowling Green Falcons square off for the '68 Ventures Bowl. This matchup featured one of the best tight ends in the NFL draft cycle in Harold Fannin Jr., who went off for 17 catches for 213 yards and a touchdown. And the best part? There were doubts he'd play the full game. But ultimately, special teams and turnovers played a big factor to help the Red Wolves capture their first bowl win since 2019 with a 38-31 victory. Jalen Rayner's 221 yards passing and 2 scores helped spark the offensive fireworks for the Red Wolves as their offense looks to continue to develop and improve going into the 2025 offseason. Heading back to Mobile, Alabama was myself and reporter Kibi Huggins to cover the Reese's Senior Bowl. And to say we saw some studs throughout the week is an understatement. Featuring potential first-round draft picks like Kyle Kennard, Walter Nolan, and Jackson Dart, the week featured high energy and draft stocks that went through the roof, and some that went in the cellar. But the most heartwarming story of the Senior Bowl was TCU wide receiver Jack Betch, a Lafayette native whose brother Tiger was one of the victims at the beginning of the month during the attack in New Orleans. Jack came to Mobile donning his brother's number 7 and stood out at the receiver position all week, being named Senior Bowl Receiver of the Week. And in the Senior Bowl game, on the final play, this happened. A game-winning touchdown. A fairy tale end to a fairy tale week for one of the best receivers in the NFL draft. On this edition of Scouting Report, I'm going to take this segment to highlight arguably the most physically gifted and scariest pass rushers in the NFL, Myles Garrett. I went down into the iHub and broke down a few of his plays and what makes him such an efficient pass rusher as he is prepared to potentially be a part of a new organization. So one of Myles Garrett's best traits is his ability to get off the football. He is so efficient whenever he plays that defensive end position. It's almost impossible to get a good jump on him. Here he is at the top of the screen, going up against a young offensive tackle that, hey, we might have an opportunity. Get 2nd and 8, got an opportunity to pick up a first down. We got Dak Prescott in the backfield, one of the most up-and-coming quarterbacks in the league. Hey, we'll see what we can do up against him. But what is so efficient about Myles Garrett and what makes him the best defensive player in the NFL is not just his ball get off, but the use of his hands and how low he gets whenever he rushes. This is a great example of what. Bam. Gets the strip sack and forces an incompletion. Once he is able to get to this corner, his arm goes up right on this guard, so he's already got a step on him. Look at where his feet are at as well. They're about to face towards the quarterback, and you're about to see an efficient pass rush. What he's able to do is that he's able to keep that arm ripping up, and from then on, he has a clear shot to Dak Prescott, keeps that outside arm free. He attacks the throwing shoulder of the quarterback, and he gets a big play. Now, another thing that's efficient about Garrett is his ability to use his speed to power. So here he is, right up here, going up against this offensive tackle. Got a man in motion. I don't think he's going to come in to protect. He's going to be right here in the slot and take a seat right there. So here's what we got going on. All we do is just a long arm, and it's just a bulldoze right into the backfield. And that is what is so efficient about him and his technique, is just his ability to manhandle offensive linemen. It's really scary if you think about it, and it's just one of the big reasons why he's one of the best. So I'm glad I stopped right here, because this is a great spot where we can be. You see how this arm is still stretched out? As a defensive lineman, offensive linemen do not need to be touching us or be within our space. So we need to create that, basically like a COVID thing, 6 feet apart. What he does so well is that as soon as he gets to around quarterback depth, this is where Justin Herbert is going to be, he fights off, he does a swim over, and he gets a sack. Now that'll do it for this episode of the Scouting Report. For more information on Lion Athletics, visit www.lionsports.net. And for more of us here at the Scouting Report, visit thesoutheasternchannel.com. So for Lucas Hill, have a great semester, and we'll see you next time.